All right. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know what the audio sound like. Can you actually bring me that light? That Sequoia? Yeah, can you bring that for me? This one a little dull. It's a little more dull than what I thought it was gonna be. So and then let me know how the audio sounds. You should be able to. Okay, perfect. You should be able to post a message if you choose to, if you want to you'll plug it up for me. All right, we're about to get started in just 1 second. That's better. Here, I'll take these off. I hate when that light. Um, okay, so I'm gonna just go ahead and maybe I'll give it. All right, it's 101. Okay, so yeah, I'll go ahead and get started. So the purpose of this live stream is pretty much to give a status report on the progress of the digital time capsule. We are approaching the launch of the digital time capsule. I'm planning on launching it via Entrepreneur NFT marketplace um sometime in Q2 of this year. Before I can do that, there is a to-do list of things that must be done, some prerequisites that must be completed before that is before that can happen. And so, one resource I want to direct everybody to, I posted it in the link of this video. Well, there's two resources. One of them is the roadmap for the digital time capsule. The other one is the to-do list. So the difference between those two, the roadmap is more so long term, and kind of encapsulates some the long-term development of the app. The to-do list is what's in the immediate future, what's to be done. And so currently what's on the to-do list for the digital time capsule is what's currently on the to-do list is all of the prerequisites minus a few things that must be completed before the launch of the digital time capsule via the Entrepreneur NFT marketplace. And so just to give for anybody who's new to the project, who's not familiar with the project, just to give kind of like a quick just to give you all a quick summary of what the project is. the digital time capsule the Digital Time Capsule is a Web3 application. It's built on the Internet Computer Protocol blockchain. So, for all my ICP fans or ICP community, you all know what that is. For people who are not a part of that, uh, hopefully allow this to be the introduction to that blockchain for you. So it's built on the ICP blockchain, and what it is a non-fungible application that is replicable, meaning multiple copies of it can be made. It is distributable, meaning it can be distributed. Ownership of that application can be distributed from person A to person B, and it is updatable, meaning the code can be updated for that application. And all of that is done with no coding experience needed. It's done via the transfer and ownership of the corresponding utility NFT. And so that's the quick synopsis of the digital time capsule. Well, not completely. So, what does the app actually do? Right? I told you that it's an app, and I gave you some of the features. But what it actually does is the application is meant to serve as a private server, a private wallet, crypto wallet, and a private server for memories and journals. So people will be able to go in and journal their sentiments. You'll be able to, give like you can give day to day sentiments, but you can also give important life moments like, the birth of a child, or um, you can give the birth of a child, whatever graduations, whatever major life event moment happens in your life. That's pretty much what it does. Um, it acts as a journal, so you can actually store photos and videos there. You can along with um writings that describe uh the event that it is that you are journaling. So somebody asks, Susie Coils asks, can you post to it every day? You absolutely can post to it every day. You could post to it multiple times a day. It is your app. It is up to you how many times, how often, how frequent you choose to post to the application. So um also with it being your app and you having ownership of it, you get to choose what code updates are applied to it. And that's gonna happen via via an upgrade mechanism that is actually one of the prerequisites that I have to build before the launch takes place. So now on that's kind of the that's kind of the summary of the app. Oh, another question. Since it's an NFT app, can I pass it down to family members, kind of like an heirloom? You absolutely can. And that's a really good question. And that's actually the goal of the application. So the goal of it is for you to store all memories and pictures, that which is most precious to you. The goal is for you to be able to store it and for you to be able to pass that down to whoever you bestow it unto. And there's value, there's sentimental value in the application, but because it's also a crypto wallet, there's also monetary value in the application. And future updates, I'll go over some of the things from the roadmap in a little bit. But before I do that, I want to go over the prerequisites. What so again, that's in the to-do list in the link, but uh, I want to go over it. I'm gonna tell it to you too. So there are 8 tasks there are 2 milestones in the to-do list. There are 8 tasks in the first milestone. There is 1 task in the second milestone. So I really front loaded a lot of this prerequisite work. The second milestone, I left it light so that any unforeseen issues that come up, I'll be able to resolve. But also more importantly, all of the small work here and there that you have to do, the tweaking, the documentation, all of that you have to do prior to launching something officially and properly. I want to have time to be able to do that. So the eight tasks, the 8 tasks include, if you'll give me 1 minute, I have them pulled up somewhere. Can you still see me when I leave the screen? So like right now I'm on another tab looking at the tasks that I have, the list of tasks that I have. I want to know if you all can still see me during this time. I'll actually put okay, perfect. All right. So the 8 tasks are the first task. So again, this is milestone number 1. There are 2 milestones that must be accomplished before the launch in Q2 of this year. Milestone number 1 has 8 tasks. Here are those tasks. 1, the first task is to create a cover photo carousel feature so that the users can have pretty much like a profile cover photo carousel for their journal. So when you come into your journal, you want to be able to, you want to be able to personalize it. You want to be able to, make it more representative of you. And for that reason, I thought that a photo carousel is a great feature to add. That feature is completed and it has been pushed to development. So that was pushed to I'm sorry, to production. That feature is complete and it has been pushed to production. It was pushed to production December 22nd. So the first uh the first task of milestone number 1 is already in production. Let's move on to the second task of milestone number 1. So the second task was to display the canister status on the login page. So when you log on the when you navigate to the to your copy of the digital time capsule, it's going to have its own URL with its own database. It's its own entity. When you navigate there, what needs to be displayed before logging in is the canister status, meaning Are the canisters depleted? Is there anything in the front end canister? Is there anything in the back end canister? You need to know the computational resources that still exist within the canisters. So on the internet computer, that computational resource is known as the cycles balance. So you need to know the cycles balance when you log into the application, before ever logging into the application. And the reason for that is, I remind you that these things, um, I remind you that these things are commodities. These things can be bought and sold and resold. And so you don't want there to be, what's up, Alex? It's been a while. Man, it's been a while. It's the memories coming back to me now that I'm streaming again. Uh yeah. So the purpose for the canister status needing to be displayed on the login page is because these things are commodities and they can be bought and resold. When they are resold, when they're put on back onto Entrepot NFT marketplace for resale, the person, any potential buyers, they need to know what computational resources exist in this commodity before they buy it. They you don't want for them to buy the you don't want for them to buy a copy of the app thinking that there is, I don't know, 300 trillion cycles in the main canister, only to find out that once they finally bought it, that there's not actually 300 trillion cycles in the main canister, but there's something less. So the purpose for that canister status display on the login page is to eliminate the possibility for a bad actor who is selling the asset, is to eliminate the possibility um, of them being able to kind of rip somebody off and resell it in a deceitful manner. And so that feature number two, that feature is completed and it was pushed to production on January 3rd, 2023. So a few weeks ago. Now, the third feature in the third tasks in the 8 tasks that are included in milestone number one. The third one is a feature that allows the owner of the app to be able to enable or disable the cycles replenishment of um other users within the app. So let me elaborate on that. The main canister is going to be responsible for making sure that the user's canisters are replenished. It's going to be responsible for that. Um, the user canisters, every user, when you log in, a journal, a time capsule is created for you, and that has its very own canister. That canister has its own cycles consumption rate because you're a user, um you have data that you'll be putting in your time capsule. Now, the main canister, or aka the back end canister, that canister is responsible for among a lot of other things. That canister is responsible for replenishing the cycles balance of all of the many user canisters that are there. And so, um, the person responsible for paying the cycles costs of the back end canister is going to be the owner of the app. Now, the owner of the app may want to be able to give someone access, but after giving someone access, they may find out that this person is consuming way too much computational resources. The owner needs to have a way to opt out of subsidizing that user's cycles consumption. And so, for that reason, there needs to be a feature where the owner of the app can opt in or opt out of replenishing the cycles for the individual users canister. And so that feature actually took a lot of reworking in the back end. I had to make some things more efficient. I had to, just basically change the way that that access was granted or denied. And so that feature is done. The code for it is complete. I have not pushed that to production just yet. That will be pushed into production with the next update release. And so it is done. Feature number 3 is done. It is not pushed to production just yet. So if you go to the app, to the beta environment for the app, you won't see it, but because it hasn't been pushed to production just yet. But it is done in the development environment, and it will be released with the next with the next release. And so task number 4 of the 8 tasks for milestone number 1, task number 4 was to fix a bug that was occurring with the transaction history. The app is called the Digital Time Capsule. Thanks for asking. So the app is called the Digital Time Capsule. Um, if you go back to the beginning of the live stream, you'll be able to hear a whole you'll be able to hear like a whole introduction to it. And then after I finish going over the updates, I can answer any questions that you have regarding it. So but because that's the purpose of this whole live stream. So yeah, questions are welcome. So for the task number 4, there was a bug in the transaction history not updating properly. So I mentioned that you do have a wallet, an ICP wallet, in your app. Every user's time capsule has an ICP wallet there. uh there was an issue with the transaction history not updating properly. As you would imagine, it's important for a user to be able to see their transaction history, because people need to be able to keep track of their spending, what is going in and what is coming out of their wallets. People need to be able to verify that they have indeed received payments that they are accepting. And so for that reason, the transaction history bug was a bit of a um, I don't know, a bit of a well, not a bit, but it was a priority. And so that bug has been fixed. It has been pushed to production on January 7th of 2023. So about 10 days ago, I pushed that bug fix to production. So on to task number 4. So right now, we've covered 4 tasks of the total 8 tasks. Uh, 3 of those 4 tasks have already been pushed to production. The other one that hasn't been pushed to production, it is complete and it will be pushed to production uh, in the next update release. And so on to task number 5. Task number 5 is to fix a distortion in one of the modals in the user interface. It's the modal where users see when they're confirming their ledger transaction prior to actually submitting that transaction. So um if you use the app a month ago and you performed a ledger transaction, you would have noticed that that confirmation screen that pops up, it was a little it was really distorted. It just didn't look right. So that bug has been fixed and it has been pushed to production. So that was task number 5. Task number 6, the page, it's another page distortion. Task number 6 is another bug, and that bug was in the wallet page where your transaction history was displayed. Anytime the transaction history was displayed, what would happen is all of the content on the screen for whatever reason would like kind of scrunch up to the left side of the screen. And so that bug has been fixed, and the fix for it has already been pushed to production. um On to task number 6. Task number 6 is another bug fix. What it So the bug that was fixed, I'm sorry, task number 7. Task number 7 was another bug fix. And the bug was in the dashboard section where you see your canister data uh, where you can see your back end cycles balance, your front end cycles balance, all of those things. That there was a bug there where the just the data was really the screen was really congested with how much data was being presented on the screen. And so as a fix, what I did was I truncated. So I truncated the principal's display, and I added a copy to clipboard button next to the principal. So instead of seeing the entire principal, what you'll see is a truncated version of that principal, and immediately to the right of that truncated version of the principal, there's a copy to clipboard button that you can press in order to copy the entire principal to your clipboard so that you can then paste it wherever you need it. And so that bug fix has already been pushed to production. If you go to the beta environment, you'll be able to um, see that there. And so on to so if you'll notice, all of 1 through 7, all of those are complete. Task number 3 hasn't been pushed to production just yet, but it will be shortly, over the next like maybe week or two. But task number 8, this is the one that is delayed. This is the only delay thus far, and I'll explain to you all why it's delayed. Um, so task number 8 is to create a manager canister, and the manager canister will be responsible for managing the version controls of all of the rest of your canisters. So the way that the so just to give you a bit about the architecture of the app has currently has 3 different canister types. There is the backend canister, or also called the main canister, and that one is responsible for keeping you all's profiles, keeping each individual user's profile, keeping track of that. It's also responsible for replenishing each individual user's cycle balance, and among a lot of other things. I won't get too technical, but that's one canister. Then there's your front end canister, and that is your user interface canister. That's what everything you see and interact with when you come onto the website. The user interface canister is that code is housed in the front end canister. And then the third canister type is the individual users canister, where each user who makes a time capsule, they get their own canister with its own stable memory state, its own database, and its own set of functions, its own principal, its own wallet balances. You know, it's its own separate entity. And so that's the third canister type. Now, what I have to do in task number 8, I have to make a fourth canister type, and that canister is going to be the manager canister. And that canister, the manager canister, is going to be responsible for receiving and delivering uh uh the one second, Alex. I'll answer your question in just 1 second. I don't want to lose my train of thought. The manager canister is going to be responsible for receiving the updates to the app and actually delivering the updates to all of the other canisters. So a canister cannot update itself. The reason for that is, in order for a canister to receive an update, you have to deactivate the canister, deliver the update, and then reactivate the canister. So all of the memory is saved when you deactivate it. None of that is lost. But you kind of basically got to flip the switch, turn the lights off for the canister, give it the update, and then turn the lights back on. So the reason that a canister can't update itself is because after you turn the lights off on the canister, it can't do anything. So for a canister to update itself, that would require that it turns the lights off on itself, does something, and then turn the lights back on. But that's not possible, because in order for it to do something, the lights need to be on. And so for that reason, there needs to be a manager canister whose sole responsibility is going to be to The manager canister sole responsibility is going to be to is going to be to my bad. So the manager canister sole responsibility is going to be to deliver the updates to all of the other canisters. So I have to build that. Now, when I build that canister, that is going to add to the complexity and to the robustness of the entire code base. In order to, like, before I add to the robustness and the complexity of the code base, what I want to do is clean up the code first. So I need to go through and clean up and enhance the code quality. I've learned some new coding practices and patterns over the last few months that I want to implement into the code base of the digital time capsule. And so the reason that the task number 8 has been delayed is because before I do that, before I go and add that additional complexity that adding the manager canister is going to do. Before I do that, I need to actually clean up the code base so that it'll better enable me to be able to better navigate that new additional complexity. And it's also necessary to keep the keep the code quality clean for future developers who come on board, who choose to contribute to the project. You want to make it as easy as possible for them to do that. And so keeping your code quality nice and clean is a great way to do that. So those are all the tasks for milestone number 1. 7 of the 8s are complete. 6 of the 7, I'm sorry, 6 of the 8 are pushed to production. One is delayed pending a round of code cleanup. And so that'll be done over the next 2 weeks. Um, and then after I've done that code cleanup, over the next 2 to 3 weeks ish, I have some other things to do for another project that I'm a part of, for SIGDAO. And so I'll have to prioritize that for the next few days. And then immediately after that, I'm bouncing back to working on the digital time capsule. So milestone number 1 is in pretty good shape, all things considered. Now there are some developments that have been made that are not featured in the to-do list. One of them being, on the login page, you can now navigate to different routes within the application before logging in. And this is useful and necessary because it cuts down on load times experienced by the user. So if you want to go directly to the dashboard page, you can do that and then log in. That way the first thing that is loaded is the dashboard data, and so you don't have to wait for the journal data and the wallet data and the other data to load before the dashboard data. You can just cut straight to the chase. And so that's another feature that wasn't in the task list, but has been developed over the last few months. And then also, what I'm currently working on, after I finish this, I will be pushing the task number 3. So together in the next update, what I'm currently working on is adding support for users who would like to log in using their Astro X wallet, their Infinity Swap wallet, their Infinity Swap wallet, their Astro X wallet, their NFID wallet. And so currently there's only 2 ways for you to log in. You can log in using your internet identity, or you can log in using your Stoic wallet. So what I'm working on now, and then once I complete, I'll be pushing this along with the upgrade mentioned in task number 3. What I'm working on now is adding compatibility for the rest of the wallets. After I complete that, then it'll be on to milestone number 2. Milestone number 2 only features one task, and that one task is to create the upgrader canister. So the upgrader canister is going to be the canister that exists solely and only to hold new upgrades to the app. So the manager canister is going to retrieve those upgrades and install those upgrades, and the upgraded canister is going to hold those upgrades. So different developers around the world, whoever chooses to expand upon this project, they'll be able to they'll be able to they'll be able to upload their code upgrades to that upgrader canister, and then users will be able to pick which upgrade it is that they want to install to their own app, and they'll be able to do that. The users will be able to do that without knowing any code whatsoever. And so um that's pretty much the status report. As far as funding, the Divinity Developer Grant, these milestones are what I have to complete in order to receive the Divinity Developer Grant as well. So milestone number 1, I just submitted my first progress report to the Divinity Developer Grant a few hours ago before starting this live stream, and basically just submitted to them everything I just told you all. And so they say it takes up to a month, assuming that they're satisfied with the progress that I've reported to them for milestone number 1. It'll take up to a month to receive funding, and then it's on to milestone number 2, where I will receive the second half of the funding. And so that's funding, which certainly helps, but it is certainly not sufficient to guarantee development for for uh, for for a considerable amount of time. So if you do like the project, if you do want to support the project, please do reach out to me, and I'll tell you how you can provide that funding. So now, Alex had a question. He said, "Do you have a production team or a developer behind it, or is it all you?" So it's all me. So I don't have a team. Right now, I'm a one-man band. I do the marketing, I do the documentation, I do all the coding, I do pretty much everything that needs to be done for the app. So yeah, right now it's a one-man band. It's a lot of work to do, but it's not too much work to do. It can be done over time. That's the only outstanding question that I do have. I'll give it another 20 seconds to I'll give it another 20 seconds to see if any more come in. If not, then I will go ahead and wrap up in another 5 seconds or so. All right. For everybody who tuned in live, and for everybody who's tuning in retroactively, I appreciate you all watching, coming through, and just checking on the progress of my application. That interest is very much appreciated, and please do reach out to me via Twitter, or District if you're a District user, or you can leave a comment here. Whatever you do, reach out to me however you can, and I'll be as forthcoming and welcoming with with my response as possible. So have a good day. Happy New Year to everybody, and peace.